Hi and welcome to Online Farm Sunday. My name's Caroline Drummond and I'm the Chief Executive of Leaf, and I'm here with my husband Philip Ward, who's dairy farmer down in Cornwall. Very excited about today. We've got 13 farms opening up all around the country, a really treat. We've got dairy farms, arable farms, sheep farms, beef farms, soft fruit, so a real opportunity to see the diversity right across the country. And in fact, we're going to be in Cornwall, on to Gloucestershire after this, then Jersey, Northumberland, Yorkshire, Herefordshire, the Isle of Arran, Northamptonshire, Cornwall, and then Cambridge, Pembrokeshire, back into Herefordshire, finishing off at 8 o'clock tonight in Cambridgeshire. So some fantastic opportunities to really see all the great things with beautiful landscapes, and I'm sure we're going to get a real range of weather as well. We just had a little bit of a rain shower here. Lots of happy farmers because it's been incredibly dry. So the good thing about Leaf and Open Farm Sunday is over the last 14 years we've now had over 2.1 million people go out onto farm. This year a bit different, but we hope through obviously social media we'll be touching even more people to discover the story about and behind their foods, and of course understand how farmers are looking and caring not only for their animals, and I think we're being joined by the cows now here in this field, right through to obviously producing our wonderful food. A little bit about Leaf. So linking environment and farming, we work in 3 areas. We've got a network of demonstration farms, all actually sort of talking about integrated farm management. We'll try and get this in your picture perfect, and you can see here, if you can imagine a juggler, pretty well that's what farmers do every single day. And I hope by the end of the day all of you, bit muddy, sorry. All of you will have had an opportunity to have a good insight into each one of these parts of the wheel. So organisation and planning, how farmers are using technology, computer systems to make things work, soil management, crop health and protection, pollution control and waste management, animal husbandry, energy efficiency, water management, landscape and nature conservation, of course community engagement. And that's what all today is all about. And so really great insight into this whole area of integrated farm management, and Phil and I are just going to give you a bit of an introduction to that in a few minutes. In addition to that, we've got Leaf Mark. So Leaf Mark is all, I'll just come over here, I've got a little bit of some Leaf Mark produce here. Oops, here we go. So if you think about how your food is produced, well, if you look out for the Leaf Mark, we've got some mushrooms here on your food, and in fact 43% of UK fruit and veg is now Leaf Mark certified. So that's the logo there that you can see, and it's where farmers have gone the extra mile for the environment. So we've got here a few bits of selection, and including Duncan Farrington's wonderful cold pressed oil. Been already using it. Duncan's going to be opening up later tonight, and you'll see, or today rather, and you'll see what he's doing. And of course I put in a bit of Cathedral City cheese because this is where our milk goes, and the cows behind here are really producing some very good quality protein milk. And then the third area of what we do as an organisation is about education and outreach, and Open Farm Sunday is a fantastic opportunity to understand all about that. Sorry, I is in mirror mode. Hopefully you can hear us all right. Thumbs up if you can. Hopefully, I'm trying very hard. Great, yeah. So yes, anyway, it's really good opportunity to understand some of the education pieces of what we're doing. It's been Farming Fortnight. So in Farming Fortnight, we've had a whole lot of different hashtags which have been really about all the things that farmers do, whether it's looking after woodlands and hedgerows, producing our food, and of course the landscape and the countryside. And in fact, if I just stand around here, you might be able to see also in the distance there some of the energy pieces there's our cows just there, just walking in. They'll be over here in a minute because they'll be very curious. Oh, sorry. And there should be over there, you can probably see a wind turbine as well. So fantastic is really opportunity. So we're now going to find out a little bit about the cows. So we're on 200 acres here. The great thing about the landscape is that you always share it with everybody else. They benefit from our landscape and we benefit from everybody else's landscape. But here we've got 120 cows. And Phil, do you want to just tell us a little bit about some of the cows? And so this is my husband here.
Yes, hello. Yeah, we got the cows just wandering into the field next to us at the moment after having been milked. Now they're all Holstein Friesians. They're big black and white things. This time of year they're out grazing most of the day, and they have extra bit of food when they're in the yard at milking times and things. So they spend a lot of time in the field. We just had a really dry time, so there's not a lot of grass around, but we've got some rain now and the grass is just, we hope, starting to grow, but there's a little bit of grass there for them. So they're having a lot of supplementary feeding as well at the moment because of the shortage of grass.
Do you want to just show us some of the feed that we've got a range of the food here?
We have.
So
we have.
Hopefully everybody can see that. I'll look at your hands, Phil, if you pick up what you...
So, apart from the grass, they have other foragers put in front of them. And here we have some maize silage.
Can everybody see that? Here we go. Yeah.
And the maize silage is it's like sweet corn or corn on the cob, and the whole plant's chopped up and put in a clamp in the autumn, and all the air's squashed out of it, and it makes a really tasty, palatable, high energy food for the cows. The cows need a lot of energy in their diet so that they can produce lots of milk.
So how heavy is a cow?
Well, these cows average about 800 kilos, which is about over 3/4 of a ton.
How much will they eat every day?
They're quite big, and they'll eat roughly about 50 kilograms of food a day, which is the weight of a small adult or a large child, really, I guess, 50 kilograms.
Yeah, around that.
And so there's a fair bit of food. So they spend a lot of the day eating, but most of the day we try and have them lying down. Either when they're inside or outside, we try and make it so that they can lie down and digest their food for a lot of time. So
they're quite interesting, aren't they? They've got, we're monogastrics. We've got one stomach, and cows have got how many stomachs then?
Cows have got 4 stomachs, really, and it's because they eat things we can't digest, like grass and maize, and they have big bag inside of them. The first stomach is called the rumen, and it's like a huge bag, and it churns the food around with lots of bacteria into a sort of a porridgey sort of substance to look at, and that the bacteria break down the food and they get all the goodness out of the food, and then the cow breaks down and uses what the food that's been broken down by the bacteria.
One of my favourite facts is we're actually only about 10% human, because 90% of our DNA is actually in all the bacteria, the wonderful bacteria that are in our own stomachs, breaking things down as well. So we've got a few more bits of food here and forage for the cattle.
Also, what we feed, can you see that? Is that working? We've got this is some big bale silage, which is so that's almost like the grasses, and this was made last autumn, and the cows can pick at some of that, and it gets some long forage into them. So when it goes into the mix in the stomach, that it gives it a bit of variation in the the type of thing that's floating around inside the stomach. And this is the main food with the maize that we feed, which
smells delicious.
Grass silage.
It smells good.
It smells very nice, smells sweet, and that is grass silage that's been chopped up and put in a big clamp, and that the cows really love that.
And then here, what's
And
this?
then this is a cow cake, which we buy in, that's being made in a big mill, and it's made from things like wheat and barley, and they use a lot of feeds that come from human food stuffs, what's left over from human food. So they grow
Particularly
soya.
high protein and things like that.
They grow soya in America. That's
Yeah.
it. And they squeeze the oil out, and that's our vegetable oil that you buy in the supermarket. And what's left is a meal. It's a dry, powdery meal that is very high in protein. So the cows, that's really, really good for the cows. And it's also fed to pigs and chickens and things as well. But that's what's left over. But it's also done with rape oil, which
We'll be hearing from Duncan a bit later.
Well,
yes,
and he produces that, and what's left over is rapeseed meal, and that's fed to cows. So lots of the things we feed to cows are things that are left over from humans, so that's really good use.
So we've got here another few. So here's a maize plant, because we're in a grass field at the moment. So I don't know if you can just hold up the maize plants here. So this is your sweet corn, but look at what's really interesting is all the different root systems. So often we forget that, what you see above the ground, below the ground is this infrastructure of really, really valuable root systems, which the plants, they're so smart plants, but the plants root around under the ground looking for nutrients and of course moisture as well. So this is quite a deep rooting plant at the moment because it's had to go quite far for looking for a little bit of moisture. And then here we've got a bit of clover. And now clover is a great plant as well. Do you want to explain, Phil, why clover is such a great plant? I can't see any.
Well,
see some root nodules there.
On the roots of the clover, there's some little lumps, and
that looks like soil at the moment.
Yes, okay, we can't really show that, but and so there's certain little bacteria there that are very good at taking nitrogen out of the atmosphere, out of the air, and turning it into a food for the plants. And so where you've got where you've got a lot of clover with the grass, it actually feeds itself. So that's really good, and that's a way of getting nitrogen into the grass.
Now we reckon a cow will eat probably about 9 meters squared a day as she's chomping around of grass.
Yes.
So you're going to have to come.
Oh, yeah.
So here, hopefully, you can see there they are. They're all very, very content and happy walking around in the grass. Now the grass grows that way.
Yes.
Yeah, brilliant. And of course, the grass grows in wonderful soil, and we've got a particularly interesting soil here, or a good soil. There's different soil types all over the country, and ours is nice and lovely, sort of clay loam type one. And I'm just going to show you here a little bit of a spoonful of soil. But soil is just alive, and the great thing is it's buzzing with lovely healthy bacteria, literally millions of bacteria, protozoa, nematodes and fungal filaments as well in here. So just in here, in this teaspoon of soil, there is more activity than there are people on the world. And when you think of the billions of people, what are we at? We're at sort of 7.5 billion people now in the world. There is a lot of activity going on here. Now from here, we're going to just have a look at some of the other bits and pieces. Now we've talked a bit around the landscape. I'm going to try and show you. Phil and I are tied together, so it's a bit like a
three-legged
race. So we're going to try and sort of come around together.
This isn't brilliant, is it?
It's working. So here and behind us, you will see the landscape. Now, this again it's very defining of the different wonderful different regions that we have around the UK, from obviously Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland and England. And you'll see around in Cornwall we have a lot of hedges. We have, of course, fencing, and just over our other shoulder over there is actually the moor, so that's Bodmin Moor. So again, a much more open area. So the wonderful landscape that we have is very much it's hilly, so that's why this land in particular is really suited for the wonderful grasslands that we can grow. Obviously we've got a bit of flat land here where the maize is grown, and some of the pasture, but actually a lot of this land is down to permanent pasture, really because of the structure. So now we're going to just have also a little bit of a look at the hedge. We're going to move over to the hedge over there, and really have a bit of an insight into what is a fantastic opportunity to really provide homes for lots of little insects and bugs. You know, we're very lucky. We share this world with millions of other parts of nature, and in particular here, Cornwall and just all around the country, and you'll see it later. But we've got a hugely diverse hedgerow system here. Phil, do you want to just say what about some of the Cornish hedges while I show off some of our lovely varied plants that are in here?
Yes, all these hedges, they're not the same all over the country. You've got different types of things. In the Devon and Cornwall, mainly Devon, most Devon and Cornwall, they're all made by cutting turf at the sides of the fields and piling it up, and you've got a big bank in the middle that's been there for in some cases hundreds of years. And on that bank, so the bank is quite a big thing around here. The hedges are about 2 to 4 metres wide, and they're probably about 2 metres high. That's the actual bank, and then the huge number of different plants grow on it. There's trees and just about everything you could imagine growing these hedges.
And they're just brilliant to provide pollen and nectar for pollinators. And you know, it never ceases to amaze me. You know, you look across a field of wheat or grass, and uniformity is just fantastic. But likewise in nature, every year this blossoming of tree leaves, a range of colours, a range of shapes, all for different features. Some of them a little bit hairy like this, or some of them will be a different shape like the oak up there. They capture water, they obviously attract insects, and in some instances they repel insects as well and pests by it's a bit like, you know, that wonderful smell when you smell cut grass. It's because the grass is kind of saying, oi, you know, don't eat me now, or don't cut me now. So plants are just absolutely incredible, and we've got a little bit here of some of the, hopefully you can see some of these, some of our wonderful notice boards, just to give a bit of an insight on hedges in terms of...
Are they mirrored?
Are they okay? Can you see them? Don't know. You might be able to see them. I can't see you at the moment. So anyway, there's lots of those. Really, we've just had a question. Why are we tied together? We've got microphones on.
It's a good question.
It is a good question.
And also, it's to stop me running away.
Yeah, social distancing is a thing of the past. So we've given you a little bit of an insight into a dairy farm here down in Cornwall. Hopefully you will get another opportunity to visit farms. I've been so lucky over the last 14 years. I have visited probably over 40 farms on Open Farm Sunday, and I think what's great today, not only are the farms that are going to be really sort of happening on the hour, every hour, and make sure you tune in for Jake Freestone at 9. And in addition to that, I hope that you will also see William Church over in Jersey, Helen and John Renner, Arkell Molly, we've got Ali Hunter Blair, Isla Curry, Duncan Farrington, Rona Amos, Tom Martin, who we've been working with the wonderful Farmer Time, Beth Simmons, Anthony Stell, and Tom Mead and Alice Midmer. So we've got a really great lineup. I think the other thing that I just wanted to say was a big thank you, not only to the wonderful Leaf team, but to all the farmers who are committed to producing our food and looking after our countryside, and share that willingly with really everybody. And this is what Open Farm Sunday and Online Farm Sunday is all about. And of course, all of this is always made happening by support and sponsorship. So we've got a lot of sponsors: the Co-op, John Deere, Waitrose, BASF, Arla, Asda, Frontier, NFU, Tesco, Kellogg's, Defra, Leafmark, and Farmers Weekly, and Sainsbury's. So a really good lineup of sponsors too, and a big thank you for that. We're just going to have another spring shower, or summer shower as they're called at the moment here, and so we're going to say bye, and thank you very much indeed for joining us. What a fantastic day it's going to be, because it will only get better from now on. I know that all the farmers that are going to be showing off their farms are not only brilliant examples of some of the best farms in the country, but in addition to that are actually happy to share the story behind our food, like so many. And do tune in, because there are hundreds of farmers today who will be showing a little bit of a teaser for their farms. And of course, from there, we're hoping that we can welcome you all out in the not too distant future. So thank you very much indeed, everybody, for listening. And bye-bye from Phil as well.
And thank you for coming to our farm.
Thanks. Bye.